Good evening. Welcome. This is Love World USA News, bringing you the news you can trust. I'm Andre. Let's take a quick look at the top stories this evening. President Trump to reinstate service members discharged over vaccine mandate. White House issues temporary pause on federal financial assistance programs. Google to update map names following Trump administration executive orders. WHO announces cost-cutting measures following U.S. withdrawal. Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg unveils recovery plan amid mounting losses. Russia claims NATO plans to deploy peacekeepers in Ukraine. Holocaust survivors share their stories at emotional London Memorial. And now to the news. President Donald Trump has announced a major initiative to reinstate military service members who were discharged for refusing the COVID-19 vaccine mandate. The move represents a significant reversal of a controversial policy implemented during the Biden administration, which Trump has criticized as detrimental to the morale and readiness of the armed forces. The reinstatement plan aligns with his broader agenda to roll back what he considers unfair or harmful policies from the previous administration. President Trump emphasized the importance of respecting individual freedoms and protecting the careers of those who serve the nation. The plan includes provisions for full reinstatement, back pay, and the restoration of rank for those affected. The announcement has sparked renewed debate over vaccine mandates and their role in public health and military readiness. Supporters of President Trump's decision argue that the mandates unfairly penalize individuals for personal health choices and led to the loss of experienced personnel in critical roles. They view the reinstatement as a step toward justice and an acknowledgement of the sacrifices service members make for their country. The reinstatement initiative is expected to be a key talking point as Trump continues to shape his administration's agenda, reinforcing his commitment to service members and to addressing policies he views as divisive or detrimental. Watch this.
We didn't want a mandate. The mandate, you just can't do that. I will rehire every patriot who was fired from the military with an apology and with back pay. They will get their back pay and an apology from our government.
The White House has issued a memo temporarily suspending federal grants, loans, and other financial assistance programs across executive departments to allow for a comprehensive assessment of funding priorities. The Office of Management and Budget, also known as the OMB, distributed the memo late Monday, with the pause set to take effect Tuesday at 5 p.m. However, in an interesting turn of events, just minutes before the directive was set to take effect, federal judge Lorenz L. Ali Khan of Washington, D.C., passed an administrative stay, blocking the funding freeze from taking effect until Monday, February the 3rd. The directive mandates a temporary halt to disbursements of federal financial assistance, including funds allocated for foreign aid, non-governmental organizations, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, gender-related programs, and elements associated with the Green New Deal. According to the memo, the federal government spent over $3 trillion on financial assistance programs in the 2024 fiscal year. The pause is intended to ensure that agency funding aligns with existing laws and the priorities of President Donald Trump's administration. The memo requires federal agencies to conduct a comprehensive review of their financial assistance programs to identify activities that may be impacted by the president's recent executive orders. The agencies have until February 10th to submit a detailed summary of the paused programs, projects, and activities to the OMB. Notably, Medicare, Social Security benefits, and assistance directly provided to individuals are exempt from the suspension. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, a Democrat from New York, criticized the move, warning that it could disrupt funding for community programs and essential services, such as disaster assistance, local law enforcement, and aid for vulnerable populations. However, the administration has emphasized that the temporary measure is necessary to recalibrate spending and ensure federal resources are being used efficiently and in line with national priorities. Some federal agencies reported initial confusion over implementation, but internal counsel has been engaged to provide clarity on the directive's scope. Watch this.
The sweeping decision could disrupt education and healthcare programs, disaster relief, and other initiatives that depend on billions of dollars from the government. The acting head of the Office of Management and Budget, which oversees the federal budget, said the money would be put on hold while the Trump administration reviews grants and loans to ensure they are aligned with the president's priorities. That includes confirming they comply with executive orders he signed last week ending diversity, equity, and inclusion program.
Google announced Monday that it will rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America on Google Maps in response to updates from official U.S. government sources. The change comes after President Donald Trump signed executive orders directing federal agencies to implement the new naming conventions across official maps and communications. In addition to the Gulf of America renaming, Google will also revert to using the name Mount McKinley for Alaska's highest peak, replacing its current name, Denali. The name Mount McKinley had been used until 2015, when the Obama administration changed it to Denali in recognition of the mountain's traditional name among Alaska natives. Quoting, "We've received a few questions about naming within Google Maps," the company said in a post on X. "We have a long-standing practice of applying name changes when they have been updated in official government sources." End quote. Google clarified that users in Mexico will continue to see the name Gulf of Mexico, while users in other countries will see both names displayed. President Trump justified the changes by highlighting historical significance. He noted that President William McKinley's contributions, including tariff policies that strengthened the U.S. economy, warrant recognition. The administration has emphasized its intent to restore traditional names and align federal communications with what it considers to be historically significant terminology. Watch this.
U.S. Geographic Name System. That's according to a Monday post on X from Google. The change will be visible for U.S. users, but the name will remain Gulf of Mexico in Mexico. Outside of the two countries, users will see both names on Google Maps. U.S. President Donald Trump ordered the name change as part of a flurry of executive actions hours after taking office last week, making good on a campaign promise.
America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
The Trump administration's Interior Department officially changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America on Friday.
Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
25% tariff on all imports from Colombia.
Alpha TV, the higher life is here. Watch your favorite movies.
Hi, Dimitri.
Kiddie shows, live TV channels, and many more. Anywhere, anytime on your device. With a unique emphasis on faith-based and family-oriented programming. Alpha TV is the place which points you to the higher life. Gain access to myriads of language channels available to family, friends, and loved ones in their native tongue.
Avete mai sentito dei cristiani che pregano grazie Padre dopo che hanno pregato per aver risposto a queste preghiere mediante Gesù Cristo nostro Signore? Amen.
Get this amazing entertainment on the Love World App Store, the Google Play Store, and the Apple Store, and begin to live the higher life. Watch Alpha TV in just 4 easy steps. Step 1, select your package. Step 2, create your login details. Step 3, set up your payment. Step 4, start watching. It's simpler than you think with more perks than you can imagine. Explore the latest news on LN24 International. Bible classics, language-specific stations, and so much more. Get Alpha TV. Watch now. The higher life is here.
The World Health Organization has introduced immediate cost-cutting measures, including a hiring freeze, reduced travel expenditures, and postponed investments. These actions followed the decision by the United States to withdraw from the organization, citing concerns over transparency, accountability, and alleged mishandling of the global COVID-19 response. The U.S., which has been one of the largest financial contributors to the WHO, provided $1.3 billion in funding between 2022 and 2023. This funding supported various global health initiatives and accounted for a significant portion of the organization's total $6.7 billion budget for the 2022-2023 biennium. The withdrawal has resulted in a funding gap, prompting the WHO to adjust its financial strategy to align with its reduced resources. In explaining its decision to withdraw, the U.S. highlighted its dissatisfaction with the WHO's handling of the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as concerns about perceived influence from member states such as China. The U.S. government has stated that it intends to redirect funds to other global health initiatives and bilateral programs that align more closely with its strategic priorities. The WHO's leadership has acknowledged the financial impact of the U.S. withdrawal and is exploring alternative funding sources to maintain its operational capacity. Other member states and private donors are being approached to help bridge the gap as the organization continues to work under revised budgetary constraints. Watch this.
$500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it.
U.S. President Donald Trump is pulling the U.S. out of the World Health Organization, and that's raised concerns about the UN agency's ability to fight diseases and respond to emergencies around the globe. And it raises questions about funding for the agency in its mission. The main reason for that is that the U.S. is the WHO's biggest donor. It contributes about 18% of its funding. The agency's two-year budget for 2024-2025 was $6.8 billion. Data from WHO show that in that period, the U.S. financed 75% of the agency's program treating HIV and other sexually transmitted diseases. It also provided over half the contributions to combat tuberculosis, the world's biggest infectious disease killer. Trump's withdrawal is coming at a time when the World Health Organization is struggling to raise cash for health emergencies from Gaza to Ukraine. Trump is also skeptical about WHO-led negotiations for a post-COVID pandemic agreement aimed at improving global solidarity when the next health threat strikes. Billionaire Trump ally Elon Musk has said nations should not, quote, cede authority to the WHO. The U.S. will cease negotiations on the treaty while its withdrawal proceeds. In addition, the U.S. is part of a global influenza surveillance network supervised by the UN agency.
We hope the United States will reconsider.
The WHO says it plays a crucial role in protecting the health and security of the world's people, including Americans.
It's too early to say what are the consequences. We need really to look into it, what are the implications, but we will continue our work in trying really to get that funding that we need.
The European Union said it was concerned by Trump's decision and called on all WHO member states to address the financial challenge now presented. China's foreign ministry said the WHO's role in global health should be strengthened, not weakened, and promised to continue Beijing's support.
Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg on Tuesday outlined a strategic recovery plan for the aerospace giant as the company grapples with a sixth consecutive annual loss. Speaking to investors after Boeing reported a $3.86 billion loss in the financial quarter of 2024, Ortberg emphasized a renewed focus on core businesses, stabilizing production, and addressing cultural challenges within the organization. The company's quarterly loss was exacerbated by approximately $3 billion in charges across its commercial aircraft and defense and space divisions. These included challenges with aircraft like the Boeing 767, the KC-46 tanker, and the much-delayed pair of 747s designated to serve as the new Air Force One planes. Compounding these issues, a nearly 2-month machinist strike disrupted production and delayed aircraft deliveries, intensifying financial pressures. Boeing burned through $3.5 billion in the fourth quarter, bringing its total cash burn for 2024 to $14.31 billion, a difficult end to a year that was expected to mark a turnaround. Ortberg, who joined Boeing in mid-2024 after being called out of retirement, expressed cautious optimism despite the company's struggles. Quoting, "While it was a challenging year, we are seeing encouraging signs of progress as we work together to turn around our company," end quote, he said in a memo to employees. His plan includes prioritizing investments in Boeing's core businesses while divesting non-core assets to streamline operations. Ortberg also highlighted efforts to stabilize production, improve operational efficiency, and reshape Boeing's corporate culture to build a stronger foundation for future growth. As Boeing prepares to face investors during its earnings call, questions are expected about the company's strategy for addressing its significant challenges. Potential moves, such as spinning off units like its Jeppesen Navigation division, could be pivotal to its recovery. Despite the difficulties, Ortberg's approach signals a commitment to recalibrating the company's focus and ensuring long-term stability for one of the world's most prominent aerospace manufacturers. Now, let's watch this.
Boeing reported an annual loss of $11.83 billion on Tuesday, its largest since 2020. The plane maker has grappled with problems at its commercial and defense units and the fallout from a crippling strike by US West Coast factory workers. The loss demonstrates the challenges facing CEO Kelly Ortberg in turning around the firm, particularly as it cedes ground to rival Airbus in the delivery race and comes under the crosshairs of regulators and customers following a series of missteps. The company reported a quarterly cash burn of $4.1 billion, a metric closely watched by investors. That was slightly lower than analysts' expectations. Ortberg, who took to the helm of the plane maker in August, said the company was making progress in restoring stability to its struggling production lines. That's after a mid-air accident a year ago raised concerns about the safety of its jets. The company reported a loss of $3.86 billion in the fourth quarter due to what Ortberg called disappointing charges in several fixed-price defense programs. After banking record-high profits in the 2010s, Boeing has bled more than $30 billion since 2019. 2 fatal crashes of its best-selling 737 MAX jet triggered production quality and safety concerns, as well as worries that it misled regulators during the plane's certification process. While the mid-air panel blowout on a nearly new 737 MAX last January dragged Boeing into another crisis.
The news continues after this break. Stay with us.
The golden age of America begins right now. America's decline is over. We will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth. I am with you. I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun.
Russia has alleged that Western nations, particularly NATO members, are planning to deploy peacekeepers in Ukraine, a move Moscow claims could escalate the ongoing conflict. According to the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, also known as the SVR, such deployments may be part of a broader strategy to occupy Ukraine and freeze the current conflict. These claims come amidst heightened tensions in the region and growing international focus on the war in Ukraine. Russian officials have strongly rejected the idea of NATO peacekeeping forces entering Ukraine. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova issued a stern warning, suggesting that such actions would risk uncontrollable escalation. She emphasized that deploying foreign troops under the guise of peacekeeping could lead to unpredictable consequences, including direct confrontation between Russia and NATO forces. Quoting, "This is not a solution to the conflict, but a dangerous provocation," end quote, Zakharova added in her statement. The idea of deploying peacekeepers in Ukraine has not been officially proposed by NATO or Western nations, but some experts have floated the possibility as a means of stabilizing parts of the country. Proponents argue that peacekeeping forces could protect civilians, enforce ceasefires, and create conditions for negotiations. However, Russia views any foreign military presence in Ukraine as a threat to its security and sovereignty, framing it as an act of aggression by the West. These developments underscore the deep mistrust between Russia and NATO regarding the war in Ukraine. While Western nations continue to support Ukraine through military aid and sanctions on Russia, Moscow remains adamant that foreign involvement is exacerbating the conflict. The situation further highlights the challenges of finding a diplomatic resolution as both sides remain entrenched in their positions, with peacekeeping efforts becoming another flashpoint in the ongoing geopolitical struggle. Watch this.
The West sees the implementation of such a scenario as an opportunity to restore the Ukrainian armed forces' combat capability and thoroughly prepare Kyiv for a retaliation attempt. In order to accomplish these tasks, the West will be required to actually occupy Ukraine. Obviously, this will be done under the guise of deploying a peacekeeping force in the country.
Commemorations marking 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau were held in London, led by around 50 Holocaust survivors, who share their powerful stories of survival and resilience. The poignant event brought together individuals who bore witness to one of the darkest chapters in human history. Amongst them was Tova Friedman, 86, who reflected on her haunting memories of arriving at the camp as a child. Quoting, "The cries and prayers of so many desperate women permeated my soul and haunt me to this day," she recalled. At just 6 years old, when Auschwitz was liberated, Friedman remembered wondering, "Am I the only Jewish child left in the world?" Marianne Tursky, a 98-year-old survivor who lost his father and brother at Auschwitz, spoke of the enduring importance of remembrance. "We are the voice for the millions who cannot speak," he said. His message underscored the significance of ensuring future generations understand the horrors of the Holocaust and the dangers of hatred, intolerance, and indifference. Tursky urged the world to remain vigilant against anti-Semitism and other forms of discrimination that still persist today. The commemorations were attended by Prince William and Princess Kate, who offered their respects to the survivors and paid tribute to the memory of the 6 million Jews murdered during the Holocaust. Their presence highlighted the importance of honoring those who suffered while reaffirming the commitment to never forget. The royal couple spent time listening to the survivors' stories and expressed gratitude for their courage in sharing such painful memories. "It is through your words that we ensured the lessons of history are never lost," Prince William said. Auschwitz-Birkenau, now a memorial and museum, stands as a chilling symbol of the largest mass execution in human history, where approximately 1.1 million Jews, most of them murdered. Events to mark the 80th anniversary were broadcast widely across television, radio, and online platforms, aiming to reach audiences far and wide. Paul Kirby, reporting from Auschwitz, emphasized the urgency of preserving these testimonies as the number of survivors dwindles with time. The day served not only as a somber reflection on the past, but also as a call to action to combat hatred and uphold human rights around the world. Watch this.
It's a very